Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I am Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Let's do this, guys. Welcome, insiders. I'm pumped up to be back from Texas. Been doing karate camp all day. Alex, you've been running 5Ks. I mean, we got lots to share. I hope everyone is doing awesome and ready to join in on our sport karate talk because we have some good topics and some fun things to talk about, to make you aware of, and see what's going on in our world, because we got a lot of big things going on this weekend in the sport karate world. There's some tryouts. There's for different things, different world teams, different
New announcements.
organizations, announcements. And then next week we got one of the biggest tournaments in the world. So looking forward to that.
The biggest so far this year.
Definitely. All right, so
yeah,
Alex, share a little bit. Then we're going to get into what's going on with VFT. Share. I want to hear about this 5K, man.
Yeah, can you believe that's a real sentence that actually happened? I ran a 5K, so that's a real thing that actually happened, right? So
better you than me, bud.
Let's talk about that. So zero personal ambition to want to do that. Okay, I do not find that enjoyable for any reason whatsoever. However, I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to get to the reason why. All right.
All right.
So anyway, so the whole reason why I'm even doing this is Lindsay asked me to. That is the only chance I would ever. There's the only reason I would ever. Okay. There's no friend in the world. I don't care how much I love you guys. There's no friend in the world that could be like, dude, do you want to run this 5K with me? And I would ever say yes. I would always say no to that. All right. So anyway.
What's up, Vince Stewart? Hope you're doing well, bud.
Yeah, what up, homie? So anyway, I went to go. I wanted to go see this DJ Wither who's from Europe, and he was going to be in Chicago, and I was like, yo, let's go check out this guy. And so anyway, she's like, all right, I'll do that, but then you got to go do this thing. So whatever, we did it. So Lindsay decides she wants to do a 10-mile. So I'm like, so I'm not even going to be running with you. She's like, no, not at all. I'm like,
so what was the point? What?
So she's like, aren't you going to train? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to train for this. And she's like, well, why? By the way, she didn't even train. Who wants a freaking 10-mile and doesn't train? My freaking.
But you were sharing before a couple weeks ago that like she just went out of nowhere and then won the thing.
Yeah, she did a 5K like a few weeks ago, and she just didn't train for that, and then just like won it. I was like, that's freaking.
Sounds like what we do at tournaments a lot of times. So.
Kinda like when you get to that level of tournament where you're like, oh God, I'm just all right. It's just hopping from tournament to tournament.
Yep.
Right? We all done that a few times at least, right? So anyway,
that's a great
I figured what's
martial artists walk from fights, running is wrong.
Dude, I agree with you. So like if you're gonna train, like how long would your training session be? Like if you're really gonna train for like a run, how long would you say you'd train for?
I've never done a run, so I have.
But let's just curious. Let's just say like, all right, I just want to like do a running warm up workout, whatever. How long would you say you would even do it for? Like a little jog training session, whatever. How long would you?
Oh, like a jog? I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour.
That's about how long a freaking 5K is.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why am I even training then? That's how long the thing is. I'll just do that. I don't want to do this to begin with, so I'll just do that. Yeah, I think I did it like 26 minutes, 28 minutes, something like that. It's like, I think, that's what it was.
Okay.
So nothing fast. So, but at one point, so there's like, and then all of a sudden I was like, oh, hey, I know you. And we're all running. And then there was this person who I was in my same like heat with. And like right away, like I kind of left her. And I'm like, whatever. I think I'm listening to this podcast because this is boring. Right. So I'm running. And what is it? There's this couple that was in like 2 heats ahead of me. They all of a sudden I passed them and they're walking. Lower back is on fire. Oh my gosh. It sucks. Never one time did my lungs ever get affected, but my lower back sucked. Right. So in my head, I'm like, I don't know. There's nobody around me. I don't care. I don't like what I'm doing.
Right.
I'm not proving anything to anybody. I'm 40 freaking years old. It's not like I'm going to aspire to do this later in life. I'll just freaking, they could jog, I could jog. I don't care. I'll just walk. So then they pass me running. I'm like, what the heck's up with you guys? I thought y'all were walking. They're like, oh, we want to run now. I was like, oh, forget you. Whatever. So yeah, so it was cool. But you know what it was a cool little thing. And what I liked about it was that they have a consensus like these 3 people win. But everybody wants to be a part of it. Everybody wants to do it, right? So, and they know that like they don't have a shot, right? They just know that. And they're not trying to do that. They're just trying to be a part of it. That's all. Obviously, Jeff, where did my mind go?
Karate.
Right. That's what we do, right?
Yep.
Here's an observation. How does that work in karate?
Right.
It's basically what we do, right? I'm just saying what everybody else is thinking. Okay. So, and I'm like, I don't think that's really transferable. I don't think you could do that in some areas. And in others, you can, right? Because like you can't just enter like a fighting division and you're just like, I just kind of want to go around. Like you're gonna draw someone who might knock you out, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, this is a bad idea, right? But like you can go and like you could do your form, right? And just be like, hey, I'm just gonna go and do that. And I actually feel in some ways our sports should be more inviting for things like that. But the culture, I don't think is. I think because you know it, when you see a guy that clearly is not going to be in there, he's outclassed. Right? It's almost looked at like, dude, why are you here? What are you doing here?
So
just, like, get out of here. Don't put yourself through this. Instead of, think about it from another viewpoint. He's completely outclassed. There's no chance he has. But he's literally standing shoulder to shoulder with the best in the world, in the entire world.
Yep.
What other sport has the opportunity to do that? Where you literally have a shot where it's like, you know what? I'm just going to give this thing a shot. And I don't know, maybe someone will like my stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, we should be more inviting for stuff.
We should be. That. Yeah, you're right. Well, I think, Alex, it used to be that way. And then we started changing where we have an A division and a double A division. And so the idea was to help people that feel like that to have something so they can feel more invited. That was the idea. But it doesn't really do that because what it really does, it just makes it where our divisions have less people. And then those do. And then they never really get over that hump to do it. You know what I mean?
Well, then now there's no incentive.
Right. There's no incentive
because
to
before,
go over that.
Right. Because before, if they were like, let's say the battle, right? Because it's coming up. And they were like, I'm just going to, let's just go. Because the battle was like the battle, forever. Right. And so now a guy can just be like, well, maybe I'll score a few points. That is an actual thought. And that is possible.
Right.
Maybe I'll score a few points. It's actually more likely that a scrub wins a match than places in a form division. Right. Because some guy I watched straight up Raymond. We always use that as a standard. It always happens all the time. Lose to a cheeseburger. I mean, this guy stood no chance. Right. So Ray is just kind of like goofing around. This guy's like he's a kickboxer. Throwing like skip up roundhouse kicks, and Ray's just kind of like moving around the ring.
What's up, Beta?
Was like trying to do like a spin kick, and the guy ducked it, and then Ray would like try to back fist him before he was done. And then Ray's like, all right, I'll blitz him. So Ray's got 3 points. He's just kind of like, we're all just kind of like going through the motions of this match. And then Ray kind of like slips, all right, as he was going to blitz, and the guy caught him. And Ray's like, oh, all right, whatever. And now Ray's like, fine, I'm just going to put this guy out of his misery. Went to go dive and blitz and didn't realize the guy had stepped back. Catches Ray high. Time runs out. Ray loses.
4-3.
Ray loses.
This must have been, what, like 99?
No, I think it was like 05 in Quebec.
Oh my God.
Or
Okay.
maybe it was
Yeah.
04. It was either 04 or 05 in Quebec.
Yeah. Okay.
And it was
Wow.
like, what in the world just happened?
Yeah.
Right? So, but the two lessons are to be had there. Number one, don't freaking take your opponent, no matter how good you have them. Don't let up on them. Right?
Correct.
And number two, anything can happen.
Yep.
Fight
Anything
like
can.
you can win. Because this guy, he was doing everything he could, but he didn't
Yeah.
really have a whole lot, right?
See, so you said the comment about forums, though. I feel like there's always someone that can, you know, come out and do something without people, you know. And for me, that perfect example is Alex Davidov. Alex Davidov was like that, where no one knew who in the world he was. And he shows up at the year that Empire States was at Madison Square Garden and just beats Butch Marks and beats everyone. And he starts winning tournaments in 2000, you know. It's just like, and the thing is, his style was so weird. We were like, what? This doesn't even make sense. What he did
like drop kicks in the middle of the
like
form.
What, you know. And then first we start like respecting him because there were some things that were like, all right, this form's so weird and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't go with, you know, like his hands were very different, right, at the time. And then it turned into, and in some ways you could say at first maybe they were, compared to everyone else, maybe a little sloppy, but then it changed and he just started catching on and going like, and dude, I have so much respect for that dude because of how he like just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, became one of the top competitors in both circuits, NBL and ASCA, and now has like just, you know, 1,000 students, you know, in it whenever he wants him to sleep, you know, whatever, just you know, whatever. Yeah. So, but yeah, man. So I think that's a perfect example of that. It can happen. Just, you got to go in with a mindset that you're going to do something, you know, do something good, you know, and just do your own thing. I think that's the thing. You got to stand out, you know. So, we've gone a lot on this time. I know we can probably get on this a little bit more. This is really
but I think you're right when you say, like, you know, go try to do your own thing, because we get so caught up into, this is what you're supposed to do in your form. This is what you're supposed to do in your form. So like, all right, so like Obeda and I were kicking it last night, right?
Yeah.
Homie was in town and we were just kicking it. We were in Naperville. And he was like, hey, is this Sharky's around here? I'm like, dude, Sharky's is like down the street, right? Right? And he's like, for real? And I was like, yeah. And so then we just got to we were talking about Salif. And he's like, yeah, Salif lives out there. I was like, nah, dude, Salif lives like a couple blocks from me. He and I got to talking about, I said, dude, reminds me of Steve Terada. And he's like, no. I knew I was going to have this conversation with you, by the way. And he's like, nah, he's better than Steve. And I'm like, ooh, okay. Okay.
So I agree.
But I know. So he's like, dude, Steve was this, Steve was that, Salif is this, Salif is that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I thought was so,
and no disrespect,
cool,
of course.
No. The thing I thought was so cool about Steve that he never really got his credit for, and Salif has this, which is why I thought which is why I made the comparison.
Right.
Is I think as a choreographer, Steve did things that people didn't understand, right? Steve.
Yeah. Eventually. Yeah. Not when he first came on.
From the get-go. Yes, from the get-go.
Remember, because again, from the beginning, it was more the background music type thing and everything. All right.
I'm talking about the moves, man. The moves, right?
Okay. Well, you say choreography. I'm thinking of choreographing to music. Okay.
I'm not.
All right. So, all right.
I'm talking about the format of. Okay, I should say it differently. I should word it differently. You're right. The way he formatted his form.
Yeah.
Right.
We're different.
I feel like he was so amazing at.
Yeah.
So like from the get-go.
And so Salif is very comparable to that.
Right. So like the way he would do like his round out flash, you never saw him do a round out flash. You saw him do like a round off like triple or quadruple flash. You saw him do the axe kick, right? Or then at times you saw him like do like a back handspring and then something weird into it. It was just freaking phenomenal. Yeah, you're right. He was Arnold's student.
He was. He actually first though started doing lessons with David Douglas first though.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so looking at that, I think having someone who comes in, it's a breath of fresh air when you have someone come in who doesn't want to conform to the mold, right?
Right.
And I think Steve did that a little bit too, because we were still kind of getting caught in that, mold of like, you wear a white uniform for traditional, you wear a black uniform for this, maybe you wear the white top and the black pants. He comes in wearing red and black. It was like, who the heck is this dude? Right. And it's cool to see someone really start to excel and say, I'm not going to do this cookie cutter thing. I'm about to do something you guys aren't even thinking about.
Right. Definitely understand that. Man, we went all over the place. They had a lot of stuff that I wanted to show up here. So one thing, like Drew said, congratulations to Sam Gagnon and Kai. They had their baby. Congratulations.
Congratulations, homie.
Yes. All right. There's some funny ones here. Terry Floyd, what's up? Ben talking about his 5-year-old throws down a 5K in 27 minutes. He said his is like 59.
No, he does not.
Daryl Carr is saying he's training at least 45 to an hour for that.
Beat me.
Daryl says the culture has changed a lot over the last 10 years. Of course. Yeah. Ben thinks it's a little different for forms, more like than fighting, but he has embarrassment and beatings factor. I don't know, maybe. Let's see. And Obeta's got some funny comments as well. Davidov was legit though. He says Tirada was sloppy but revolutionized a lot. Lots of things going here, but this was a lot of fun just talking about that. We went all over the place. First, again, guys, if you haven't signed up yet, get signed up for a virtual fight tour. Put your money up. Let's go. September 22nd and 23rd. 23rd is King New York, which is going to be a banger event as always. And also, we just had an announcement too that there's going to be a UK VFT. So that's going to be super exciting. And I really hope that some of our guys go over there, which I'm sure that, just think about who puts it on. So get pumped up by next level guys versus those UK guys. You know what I mean? Like think of James Poor versus somebody over there,
but I could see it being okay if it was just all UK guys.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean?
But I'm just telling you, I think if Jesse is going to go there, he's bringing people with him. He's bringing Tyson with him. He's bringing James with him or Merrick.
That's what's so great about VFT. Maybe he doesn't have to go over there.
True. That's true.
It's virtual. Right. He could do the whole thing from New York.
He could. You're right. But I mean, I think this is going to be really cool and really exciting. Reach out to Jesse Ray to find out more about it. And again, it's not done. VFT is still going. We have Last Man Standing at several events coming up. Actually, he did the VFT at Kevin's tournament over the weekend.
I didn't know he had one going on until after.
Yeah, so Kevin had an event. There was a lot of events over the weekend, guys. There was
That's what I heard, man.
So Jason Warren had a tournament. I know there was some in the local area here. Kevin Walker, lots of different things going on.
Where you were at? Where were you this past weekend?
So I was in Texas visiting family. So
and that's why you couldn't be on the show last week.
Right. So we were
last
in
week.
Texas.
Okay, I know you were kind of chiming in. Dude, last week was freaking crazy because it was Jero and Obeta were supposed to be on. It was supposed to be just three of us. Jero never showed. So
yeah.
It was just Obeta and like John Curtillo for like a very good portion of the show. And Devin Hopper showed up.
Hey, that was fun. I still have to go back.
Cool, man.
I gotta go back and listen. So
yeah, it was cool. But hey, those guys sound like they're gonna do VFT, the team matchup as well.
Oh, all right.
So
I like it.
Sounds like there might be a TDE team, and there might be I don't even know what team.
John's on.
Is John? I mean, I'm assuming you rock. If you're a Conroy
He's
guy,
rocking Conroy. So Team
you
Conroy.
always got a team. It should just be called Team Conroy. Let's be honest.
It's kind of Team Conroy Gagnon
they rock
now.
Together.
It's Team Conroy Gagnon, Sam and Conroy it's their team, So, yeah, and then the sad news last week as well that Ray Bryant passed away. Really sad.
And I didn't mean to break that news. That was not news I was trying to break, but apparently, like, I was bringing up the fact that he was part of Pan Am, and John and Obeda looked at each other and they were like, I guess we got to say it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't trying to, but our
Yeah.
condolences to Ray Bryant and his family.
Definitely. Again, as this is a weird transition, but one of our topics is, it kind of goes off of this. It's everything in the show today just kind of keeps going and going and
it's all good, man.
So it's been fun. It's been great. It's been real easy. So our next thing is just the push for fighting growth, for the growth in point fighting. Okay.
Yeah.
And we are seeing, let's talk about, next weekend, Battlemania, right? You can do 4 different fighting divisions for, I don't know, $100 or something like that, right? You got double elimination. You got a lot of different things that they're doing, you have, all these extra divisions they added at Ocean State, right? Really 2 of the same division, just different monies, right?
Yeah.
When really, they didn't really necessarily have to do that, but it was just a push to get people fighting more, right? Continuous fighting. That was the big post yesterday and today about pushing continuous. What can we do to get people to do continuous fighting? A tournament just put out $99 for continuous, point, and open weight. Like, there's a big push to get more fighting. And so again, think about that. That's a great rate. That's a great deal. I mean,
but why I think that's so important is because I brought this up in episodes past, where
let us know what you guys think about this, guys.
Put my dad hat on, right?
Yeah.
If I'm bringing my kid, it's thousands of dollars of investment per event, right? Because it's not just a plane ticket; it's 3 minimum, right?
Exactly.
Minimum, right? Then it's like, all right, now what are we getting? 1 room or 2? Then it's like, all right, well, we might as well get the whole 3 pizzas. Everything's more. Everything's more and more and more and more.
Definitely.
And then you might have 1 fight.
Right. Yeah. So my teammate Preston.
But that's what the parent would and should do, is be like, go do a form division. Go do something.
Exactly. Go do something. Exactly.
And then you can do 6 form divisions. All right. Now we're making it worth our trip to be here.
Right.
So if you can do
fighting
that,
wise,
while still just fighting, because if that's all that kid wants to do, well, there you go.
Yep. No, and I love that. I think that's great. I think, again, the push those for adult fighters to do continuous and to do more and to get more opportunity. I love that. Like, I was just going to share it with my teammate Preston. He's flying from Texas to Atlanta, and he's like, I'm going to do something besides 1 division. I didn't fly one all the way to do 1 thing. It's like, I'm going to do something else. So I think that's definitely a thing. This is where this kind of changes, and I love the push for fighting growth. And I feel like over the past 5 to 10 years, everyone's saying that fighting doesn't get enough love. Fighting doesn't do this or that. There's not enough fighting in the grands. I think that's a big push. And I think a lot of that's because of the junior forms and such, right?
It is all because of the junior forms.
Right. But if you look at it, there's less fighting divisions, and there's more money given for fighting, right? So, and everyone's go, oh, you're a forms guy, you're gonna say this. But I'm just looking at really numbers, right? So right now, if you do an open weight division, that's a separate division, right? And it has separate money. You have the point fighting division, that is one, that's a separate one. You have team, that's a separate one. So every time an adult fighter signs up for a new division, it's like separate money. That's not the case with forms. And so what I'm kind of saying is there a gripe there, Now, yes, there's a traditional grands. There is a open grands, all right? But I do 4 divisions to compete in that open grands, right? So all 4 of my divisions don't have separate money. I could go, if I just want to just do forms and CMX is my thing, I do 4 CMX for 1 shot at $500. Because again, they're not giving 1,000 anymore, and they probably won't. And there's no runner-up money anymore. Okay. And there's no separation or even a chance for overall to get to that, which some tournaments are doing that. All right. Traditional, same thing. I'm going to go and do traditional challenge, Japanese, Korean. All that's the same money. So that's what I'm saying. There's, and you're looking at it, where's most of the money coming from, right? It's coming from, I mean, I hate to say it, but a lot of the forms people. I mean, overall, I think it's kind of overall, and people say underbelts, and I agree, yes, the underbelts, but I really think the junior black belts is actually where most of the money comes from in NASCAR.
Exactly where it is.
And so, and I saw the same thing in my tournament. Junior black belts was huge in NBL, and that's where it comes from. So I think,
like, wait, one family just spent $700. Oh my goodness.
Exactly. And so I think, we need to look at that, like that's why I've been a big proponent of division money or, runner-up money or something like that, because it just doesn't make sense. I'm going to go and get and spend, especially now, spend $250 just on registration and have a shot at 500, and then room.
All right. Well, let's look at things in black and white.
Everything like that. So
let's look at things in black and white. Okay. Yeah. So there are more form divisions. There are less fighting divisions. There are more opportunities for different avenues to get money in fighting.
Yes, because again, grands, you have divisional grands.
Now grands is different for forms, because now grands is different for forms.
Yeah, there is a true. All right, there is for no, 1, 2. So let's say for a male competitor, there's 2 forms grands, and there's 2 weapons grands, right?
Yeah.
All right. For a female, there's this. Actually, no, there's not the same. There's only 2 and 2, because they don't split it traditional and open. Then you also have seniors, which is kind of split equally, but again,
Well, let's look at it this way. So we're adding more fighting divisions, which is very good.
Yes.
But in every fighting division that we're adding prize money.
Yes.
Whereas in the form divisions,
we keep adding, and
we're just adding divisions for the opportunity to compete for the same
amount. Exactly. And I don't think that's
right. So then where is it? So then the question is, where is it imbalanced and why? Where is it unfair? If it's unfair, right?
Because again, an overall grand for fighting should be the same as overall grand for forms.
So
or close, So and now it's 1,000 and 500. So and then
the problem is
DMX.
The problem is the culture. The problem is the precedent that you set, right? Yep. You've already set the culture. You've already set the precedent that, all right, I need to get into the grands for form. Yep. I need to get there for the opportunity to compete. Okay. There's another division that allows me an opportunity to get there. Correct. I'm gonna do that. Right. So I'm gonna do 3 of these. I feel like that's more of a competition. Whereas in fighting, this is a simple solution to do the exact same thing without adding any more prize money or any more divisions. Let them do multiple weight categories.
Right.
Now it's the same exact thing.
The same. Yeah.
The only problem is when you look at it and you go, Bailey Murphy's the light heavyweight division champ?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Really? Huh?
Yeah.
If you just get rid of the fact that that's not the way it's supposed to be, you'll be fine. You'll be fine with it. Right?
Yeah.
Right? It is going to look weird when you go, why, because then you know what's going to happen is if you allow that to happen, you just got to just suck it up and just let it happen a few times. When Enrique Latona is the heavyweight division champion, because there wasn't any star power there, and you go, how the hell did this happen? Right? I'm not saying Enrique would ever do that. I'm just putting a name out there of a lightweight guy.
Right. Correct.
And the reason why you always go that way, because you can't go the other way. All right. You never can fight down. All right. A lighter weight can go up. A heavier weight can never go down, which is absolutely fair. All right. The moment the boxing commission ever hears that you let a heavyweight fight in a light middleweight division, they're going to shut your ass down.
Exactly.
The state will shut you down. Anyway, point is, without getting deeper into that. So if you just kind of get rid of the stigma of like, no, heavyweights have to be heavyweights, middleweights have to be middleweights, right? Then this is a problem solved. Now guys will enter 3-4 divisions for the exact same money. And it'll be the same thing as forms.
But is that right though? Is that fair?
Do this open weight.
But see, I don't like that. I think there should be more opportunity for money, because again, there's a limit on that, and the people are bringing you more money are not getting that, and I understand the push that we come from a fighting background, but we also have taught so much about the fighting style has changed. Everything has changed. The sport evolves. The same thing has happened, so with forms. So there just needs to be, I just respect the events that put the same amount into it. You know what I mean? Like make it equal. There's a push for equal money for male and women. I think should be very similar with the forms as well for male and women. Let's figure out a way to make it just better overall for everybody.
I agree with that.
I don't know about. I'm not saying splitting, like adding more grams, because I think that's a bad idea.
That's ridiculous.
I don't want that. But where's the overall money? Where's the divisional money? Where's the runner-up money? I mean, there used to be when they had a grand, a runner-up, and a third place, and then they had an overall. I mean, there was all kinds of stuff. Or if what they would do, they put everyone into overall. Everyone, if you made the stage, made some type of money.
Yep.
And that was great. But
I mean, really, if we did it like this for all black belt adult competition divisions, $100 for your division, you just win.
Right. Well, and even if it was 50, honestly, even if it was $50, because it makes you okay. Well, if I get 2 first places, then that covers me for this or that, but something, you know what I mean? I understand, just because when you look at that chunk, that's a big chunk, like we already have a big chunk now that people look at prize money. When you add that, really, you do that, that's a lot, but yeah, they definitely need to go back to the pre-pandemic money, because there's no reason why. We're looking at probably the biggest battle in a long time coming up soon.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think they're doing good on most part. But again, the push is for the fighting money, not the forms. So,
yeah. And then part of that is, listen, and I'm experiencing this in my businesses also, where everybody could say it like, all right, prices are going up. A price for whatever it may be, it is increasing. And there's only so many times you can go back to your customers and go, prices are going up. Prices are going up. Prices are going up. Right. So in this one, if you do that and say, listen, it's $100 for every division, people just won't show. Right. So then you're like, all right, well, then this is going to suck. If it's like the one-time event, or like this is the big event of the year, and it's like, all right, maybe. But if it's like a standard, like it's $100 for every division, they'd be like, well, no. Right.
Yeah.
So you can't. So you gotta balance that.
Yeah. It's tough, because you really push for something like this, and then people don't show up. So I understand it, but we got to keep talking about it and bring it to light, guys. So again, tell us your comments, what you think. All right, next part. I actually think we're gonna go the opposite way of what we planned, but let's talk about this, man. The return of PKA striking.
Word.
So, PKA, if you don't know,
the other way around.
Professional Kickboxing Association, I think, or Alliance.
I thought it was association.
Yeah, and so
I thought it was the
PKA,
Professional Karate Association. Is what I thought.
yeah, it was at one. Yeah, you're right, professional karate. But so again, if you don't know, it was huge in the late 70s and 80s and into the early 90s with the
Yeah.
kickboxing. We talked about this a few weeks ago with Karate Combat. And now there's a push that there's going to be, this weekend, there's a first tryout for a pretty much like a reality show type series that's going to be crowning the new 8 world titles for PKA. All right. And what they're doing, they're putting striking stand-up PKA in a cage. So this seems exciting. This is great for point fighters, right? This is the return of something kind of like WCL with the World Combat League, right?
This could be better.
This could be, right?
If you're gonna make it a reality show, this could be way better.
Yes. So the first audition is this weekend in New York. I've got some information about it from this is a free thing from actually Jeff Smith sent me some information. We got guys the sparring, they're gonna have the audition's gonna consist of sparring, pads, and interviews in front of the celebrity panel, which is Rick Rufus, Heather Hardy, Jeff Smith, Danny Tiger Schulman, Chris Algieri, and also we have the other guys. It's like Joe Corley is involved in this. The event is...
You can't say the word PK. You can't say the letters PKA without Joe Corley being around the corner.
Correct, of course. So No Limit Kickboxing in Middle Island, New York, June 11th, 9 a.m. This it's hosted by world champion Tommy B. Botane. So Tommy Lee Botane. So this is going to be awesome. All right. This is just the first of 8 that they're doing. Okay. So this is just the first of 8 events to pick the finalists for the PKA world titles. So if you couldn't make it to this one, all right, find out where the next one is. All right. We're going to be talking with these guys, maybe get something going and work together to push this. This kind of just seems like the full contact version of what we've been pushing with Virtual Fight Tour,
Well, I mean, a little bit. What has me most intrigued about this is the fact that they said they want to make it a reality show.
Yes.
Because that tells me, like, you need 2 things. You need the best fighters, strikers, and you need the best personalities.
Yeah. And I don't know how they're going to do it with a true reality show, but like what's real popular right now, like biopics, right? Biopics are very popular right now, and like the docu series, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like those
biopics.
Yeah. So and it's more, it's, and also even documentaries that are about like, all right, this is the inside of this fight, like HBO boxing and the way they do that. I think even if it's not the same type of reality shows we think of, like The Ultimate Fighter, if it has
it might be something like a 30 for 30.
It could be something like that. Who knows? But I know they're going to do live fights and everything. That's going to be it. What else was cool was that what was the show? The oh my God, was The Contender? Was The Contender?
Oh no, that was a reality series. Yeah.
Right.
See, that's what I envisioned in my head when you said it was going to be a reality series. I envisioned The Contender.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of a dope show.
That was a good show. I watched the first 2 seasons. Yeah.
I think I watched the first season and maybe a little bit of the second. I don't know if there was much. I don't know if there was anything after that.
So let's go. Like, who do we want to see be involved in this?
I will tell you right away. As far as fighting and personality, the best person to be involved is Ross Levine.
My
gosh!
But that's probably not going to happen. So
probably not going to happen.
No, he already has a contract. So for me, it's Cam Dawson. But for me, it's Cam.
Shit.
So that's somebody that
awesome.
Now a couple years ago, before he got into the stunt game, he was actually this is someone who was going to be doing this and was actually working with these guys and doing some fights. Was Justin Ortiz was doing some? Remember, he was doing some kickboxing and up in Canada and different things. And I would love to see him in there. He'd be great in that.
No, I don't leave. I could totally see Justin Ortiz would be fantastic.
Oh yeah.
I think he should do that.
Oh yeah, I mean, he probably would do. He's the crazy enough to do both. Go film a movie and then go fight. I mean, it's just
dude. Last year when we did our lightweight month and he was on he was on, dude, guys, go back, listen to that.
That was a great one. That was a great show.
That was a great show.
And we even learned a lot about Sabat too, which is really cool.
Right?
Yeah, we learned a lot. So it was cool. All right, who would you guys like to see in a full contact striking in a cage, just stand up? I'm pretty sure it's above the waist kickboxing. They may do maybe Waco style or maybe like a kick light where it's above the knees or something like that,
Yeah, if you're bringing in low kick, then it's like now you just brought in the whole world.
It's different. So I don't know how we're gonna see that. But as far as all the rules, but I know they're inviting everyone in. They're really pushing the Waco guys, the WKU guys, the WKA guys.
Here's what I'll say.
Point karate,
especially when you're talking about a reality series. Now I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna make it a quick one. I'm gonna tell you this quick story. I was almost on a reality show.
Oh yes, I think you told me this story.
I was almost on MTV's The Real World.
Yeah, you told me that story.
True story. This is a very, very true story. So I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. I'm out on this like party date with this girl the night before. And we're just hanging out. We're at this freaking weird party. Jack Felton would be dope. All right.
Yes, Jack would be great.
And we're talking about this. We're like, man, it's gonna be late. Man, what do you got going on tomorrow? And she's like, oh, I'm auditioning for The Real World. I'm like, you're doing what? She's like, yeah, I'm gonna be here, there. And I'm like, I'm gonna be there. Right. So I go there, and they sit us at like the same table. And so this was how the conversation went. They were just like, okay, let's talk. I'm like, what the frick are you talking about? Let's talk. Right. And so this one chick was talking about how she was, I'm going to spare you the details, but she was being intimate with some dude. And I basically dogged on her. I was like, you're just trying to get out here and get yourself noticed by these guys saying something raunchy, like, get the frick out of here. Right. Whatever. Right. And then they're like, oh, yeah, well, what did you do last night? And I was like, well, I went to some freaking weird woods mud party. It was a freaking worst because my new shoes got all muddy. And I started dogging on them. Right.
Yeah.
So I make it. This chick does not. Right. Basically dogged on her the whole time. Last date we ever went on. Right. So then they move us to like another group table. All right. And I'm I figured out this formula real easy. Just make fun of people and I'll keep skipping tables.
That's right.
So I did. Right. So we get to the next one, and then it's like, all right, we got to do the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing. Then I realized I was like, that's all they care about. They just care about people that are interesting, right? Especially something like that, because there's nothing else involved.
Correct. Yeah, it's just it being interesting. Yeah, there's not any.
There has to be a reason for someone to want to watch you.
Correct.
Because there's not another thing going on. It's literally just you being you. And if you're not interesting, there's no reason to watch you.
So now it's that connection. Yeah, you got to have that connection.
MTV's Final Fu, which was the worst freaking thing for martial arts, right?
Yeah.
Right? We all forgot that it happened. Okay, whatever.
You just brought it up.
Let's just talk about the casting of it. I thought the casting was poor because there was no personality.
Right.
Everybody was plain Jane, cookie cutter. What is this?
Right.
Why did you get a bunch of trickers to do stuff when they're never going to trick?
Right.
This is pointless.
Yeah, and they didn't give you any detail behind them, any of that. You know what I mean?
Nothing.
It was almost like what was that show that was where they had the people hanging out on the bus, and then they would bring them off. They say, "All right, the date show where next, yeah." So that was kind of what it was like to me. That was how much you found out about these people.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
Next was the original Tinder.
Yes, it was.
Think about it. Because you don't know who's coming up next.
It was.
You see some girl, you're like, this is going horrible. Next.
But what's funny is that several of those people that were on Final Food were also on Next. So, I mean, it's kind of funny, you know.
Are you for real?
Yeah. So anyways. Huh? Well, Hans was on there. Hans was on both. He had been on both. And a couple other guys, too. Yeah. Some of the females, I think, were on there. So, anyways.
So
I'm excited about this. I'm excited about this. If we get a reality show, with this and pushing what we do and just putting out, because again, people love striking. So let's show it, What's up, Mark?
We should have some guys that could knock other people out. Chance Turner would be good for it.
Yes.
Right. Someone who will do something freaking.
Some funny guys too. Some
funny
interesting
guys.
characters. Yes.
I think James Poore would be great. Right.
Yep.
I think there would be a lot of funny guys. I think Ryan George would be great.
Yeah. There's many. I mean, there's a lot. It just depends what people want to do. How far people want to get into this. So
I think
reach out to Jeff Smith, guys.
Would be Willie Hicks if he wanted.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Willie would be great.
Please do it. Please do it.
So
go audition tomorrow. Find yourself. Get to New York on Saturday.
So one of the things though, we had talked about this, just that push for that 90s style. You and I also there's been several fighters from our era, from 90s, who are trying to come back, and I've been and getting back into it. And I've been joking about that. It's a little different. It's faster now. You can't just kind of BS with the ref and take time and just waste time, and just sit there.
Sitting on your heels.
No, there's no sitting. You got to go, and in some ways that you saw that in the 90s style, but also was that go. When it said go, you got to go, because again, it was first to five. You're trying to get through it, it all depends on where you're from and the area. I think the Southern kind of style, maybe even the Kentucky area, the Tennessee area, it's a little bit slower because they can kind of slow it down a little bit,
because they were used to getting kicked in the nuts.
Right. And even in the Southeast, we saw it slow down a little bit. But New York, Boston,
they were flying.
It was just flying. Boom, boom, boom. Detroit area, flying. Go, go, go. But it's really, really interesting to see that, to see some of these guys coming back. But also how that 90s style crosses over, today. Of course, a perfect example we say, and a lot of people compare to, is Cam, right? Cam trains in the 90s style, but he changes it to make it. It's.
You know what though, Jeff? Before we go any further, we're not explaining what that style is.
No, we're not. We're not at all.
Let's do that, because if you started fighting in as you started on this scene in 2003, right? That's
even earlier than that. I mean, even later than that. Yeah, I mean, but
that's almost 20 damn years, and you still wouldn't really know what we're talking about.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So when you say a 90s style fighter, right? There will be times where you will sit flat on your heels. You do this thing where you're in your fighting stance and you're kind of leaning back. You're leaning back. You're ducking your chin underneath your shoulder. And you're kind of leaning back like this. And you were like, that's a block? How the hell is that a block? Right? It's not.
And really, that is more of the end. That's more of the 80s style, really kind of on the edge of the 90s. You know what I mean? If you really think about it.
Yeah. But then it would be what I feel like when I see two things when I think 90s style fighting. I think your movement and the way you fake, if you're just jittery, just almost like you're just like head faking, right?
Right.
Right. All right, that's plucked right out of 1996.
I mean,
right?
And in some ways, the pump kicks,
pump kicks.
Still, the pump kicks in that certain way, you know what I mean? I think of a Reggie or a Preston of just pumping it straight at the side, But Preston, but Reggie was a great example of that.
What Mike just said is absolutely perfect. Right here. What he said. Oh, I learned how to fight that way because of being in the veterans division.
Yes.
He's right. Because when you're in that division, where are those guys? When you're in the veterans, when were they at the top of their game? When they were the best? They were in the 90s. Right? He's 100% right.
So, Mark, I agree and disagree. I think it is faster, and there's probably, but there was also, there's more, I feel like, not always a feeling out process, but there's more movement, circular movement and footwork now than there was.
More sophisticated.
Yes, you're right. It's more sophisticated. That's a great way to say it. Then it was go, go, go for some. and then you had the styles where sit, 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 you know. So there's really two versions of that. Really, there wasn't anything else really. There was those two, you know. The only person I could think of that was a moving one was Tony Young, you know, but it was still, he still had that movement, but he was still had that laid back style while he was moving. It was really weird, right?
So weird.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure you
yes,
all taught me to never do this. What are you doing? I don't understand that. Right.
correct. And this is a great point too. West Coast fighters were counter fighters. That doesn't really exist anymore. Would love to see that. That was one of my favorite things about going to compete on the West Coast, was just seeing that, you know, seeing someone. The only person I've seen really do that, and this is still 10 years ago, was Brian Young, doing a lot of counter fighting. And even Damon Goodbert was great at that too. So, but
you know, we're bringing up a subject of an era of fighting,
right?
And
why are we bringing this? Part of this has to go with the PKA of that style that we've talked about, right? And how that goes,
correct.
right?
That's a reason why we're bringing it up. Okay.
Yep.
So this is something that gets brought up a lot, right?
Yes,
which is,
high low is my favorite, John.
This era had the best fighters. So this era was the best. So you couldn't have beat this era. Right. You kidding me? That had so and so, so and so, and so and so. Couldn't beat that. Couldn't beat that. Listen, I'm gonna say this right now.
Uh-oh.
Let me get focused. Talent-wise, there's no era ever in the history of this planet better than the 2010s. All right? None. Ever. All right? 2020s is just starting, really, right? We kind of really didn't have it yet, right? So it's hard to really tell what's happening.
It's pretty awesome right now, I'm telling you. I mean,
it's very awesome right now.
You're looking at the talent pool, man.
And I want to give a great comparison as to why, because there'd be plenty of people that say, the 80s we used to beat you up. The 90s, man, we did everything, right? Let me explain. Okay. And I use this comparison in other sports as well, because
this is exactly what you were talking about earlier in our conversation. They had this conversation about basketball on ESPN radio.
All right. So like, if you're talking about like the best eras of like baseball, I'd be like, oh, well, there was Babe Ruth and there was, Lou DiMaggio and whatever. Like, get the frick out of here, man. Right. People are more athletic today
now than ever.
They can do more things.
Yep.
Right. Are you kidding me? Right. Football players today. Are you kidding me? You insert Aaron Donald.
Right.
10 years ago, even just 10 years ago, you would play him anywhere on the field. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Go play him in the 80s. There's not an offensive lineman that could stay in front of him. He would just run straight through people, right? Because he's bigger, faster, stronger, more athletic, and smarter, because he's got decades of film that he's studied that it makes him better than you, right? I hope that there's not anybody who actually thinks that there's any era of basketball that was better than the 2010s, right? Now is pretty damn good too, right? There's nothing. There was no era. Take somebody like, and I'm going to use it as an example, and I'll bring it back to martial arts, right?
Please.
Take someone like Grant Hill in the 90s. When Grant Hill came out, they didn't know what the frick to do with him, right? Was he a wing? Was he a guard?
Right.
Was he a forward? This dude could dribble. He could bring up the ball. He had all these moves. He had a good mid-range dive. Like, he could post guys up. We didn't know what to do with him. People thought Lamar Odom was the Swiss Army knife. He was amazing. Are you kidding me? Guy right now, you got point guards right now that are like 6'5", right? That can go in and out, that can shoot it from 35, 40 feet, right? That have got handles of things you've never seen in your life, things that will literally make you fall over, right? They can do every move plus way more. There's literally no deficit in their game. There's no possible era that is better than them. Bringing it back, the skill level of today. There are a few things. I'll say a few things. there are a few things lacking in the overall game of today.
Yes.
Not a whole bunch, right? But right now, no, they're more athletic. They're smarter, right?
So my only argument on this, and I'm not even going back to the 80s because I do think, that's different. But the 90s style used their athleticism more than the 2002, maybe not 2000s, but that 2005, because everything started to change where it became more of a sidekick blitz. That's it. So, but now they use their athleticism in different ways, smarter, more like, again, it's more sophisticated, right? So I think the argument for many people is that, yeah, but you saw jump spin kicks, axe kicks, more athletic type movements.
Guys don't get hit with jump
in
spin
the 90s
today.
things, So I understand that argument. And I think certain people like a Pedro could compete now.
You could compete now, that's for
definitely,
sure.
yes. There's different ones like a Jason Borelli, Raymond, those guys definitely.
They'll always be in the top.
Always. But what the thing is that I think now we're seeing that meld of the two eras better than ever, because we are seeing the guys that know how to blitz, but are kicking more and are using that. And you're seeing someone like Bailey hitting people with tornado kicks and jump spin back kicks. And you're seeing that movement, You're seeing ones that probably, like, honestly, Elijah is an amazing athlete, but he doesn't have to do all the crazy stuff. But he uses his athleticism to be in a smart way. It's more sophisticated, like you say.
Let me finish bringing it full circle and explain more why today is the best. All right. So it's because if you just bring it into like the moves, like, are you kidding me? Look at the move this guy can do. This guy can do. I will tell you right now, if we were in a classroom, me and my peak, I'll tell you, classroom for classroom, drill for drill, nobody ever beat me. Nobody was ever going to beat me in the classroom. I was going to be the freaking best. But you could never say that when you walked in a tournament. You weren't going to say I was going to be in the top 5 of that tournament, right? It's not that was not the case, right? So anyway, that's why I it's not like move for move. Is this guy's move the better than this guy's move? Yeah, they're still better today, but whatever. All right. It's the setups, it's the spacing, right? The guys don't get hit with jump spin kicks today because you don't see guys just doing what Preston could still be effective today. I will say that. All right. But you don't see guys like doing what Preston would do today, where they just pick up and then just fly. Right. That doesn't happen anymore.
No,
because they know that's not an intelligent attack. That's not a smart move. So you don't see that. So you don't get a lot of jump spin kick counterattacks on that because you don't get those type of mindless attacks. Right. That's why today is so much more sophisticated. Man, I hope guys are still staying tuned on this one because we got it right here. I tell you, guys, things like the big highlight moves like duck under back fists. Right. You don't see
that anymore. You're right. You don't see that anymore.
Harder. It's so much harder. You watch, and I'm gonna bring it another example again. You watch exchanges. The NBA Finals is going on right now, dude. I can't even believe I'm not watching it right now, but I'm going to see who's winning, right? If you've been watching the finals right now, these are two great teams. Oh, Celtics are up 56-47. Crap.
Wow.
I mean, my guy Wiggs is going to be balling out, but whatever. All right. So, I mean, there is no possible point where you can ever let up, right? Ever, right? So, and it's the same as today. Like we said, you can never sit on your heels. There is no point where that would ever possibly be happening, because the moment that happens, it's just guys don't think, right? Because you see someone sitting on their heels, there is no possible way they could defend you. Just take off as fast as you can. And everybody's fast enough today to do that. Everybody is. So
for the most part, in that area, I think so. A lot of it though is people analyze things way more now too than before. There's more film. There's more just everything. There's way more scientific evidence and everything on athleticism, everything. People have trainers and stuff. That it wasn't really a thing back then. So everything's different. But I also feel like some of the top people are the ones that don't. Yes, they may be super fast, but they use that person's speed to make it easier on them. Okay, you're coming at me. You're coming now. I see you coming. All right, all I have to do is hit you. You know, there's a lot of that too that I think before, which maybe is more.
I think
of
we saw a lot of that in the
fighter.
mid 2000s.
Yeah, exactly. It saw a lot of that, and I feel like the senior competitors or the older competitors, that's why some of them are still able to, be at that level because of that knowledge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't think it's just all speed and everything. I think, but yes, athletic wise, it's amazing. But we're at that point again where we're letting our top youth competitors move up as well.
And here's one key thing that I will say I've never seen better than today. It's the amount of space that a fighter can cover on an attack. I have never seen it like today, right? Like
in a blitz,
where you are safe standing in front of somebody, you have to be further away now than any other time in history.
Okay.
Right? Don't you remember? Guys in the early 90s would touch each other's hands.
No, yes, I remember that. I remember that. But then I also remember like late 90s, early 2000s, people being like, again, like a Nicky Carlson, a Nate Windsor, that could spread, like kick you from across the room, you know what I mean, with one leg, so I don't see that anymore, you know what I mean, because that's not really a thing. People don't try to skip that far anymore. It's just not a thing because you're gonna get jammed, so it's a little different.
And those are moves that are easy to counter or easy to spin on.
Right, but that was the style in that time, and it was just amazing to see someone from the back of the ring skip and hit someone on the other side. It's nuts, right? But that was the thing. So I see that. But yeah, you're right as far as like being able to cover that distance, disguise it. I mean, there's just so much we could talk about with this.
Now, the other part,
comment and argue with us. I don't care.
You can't argue with me. You kidding me? You can't argue with me. I'm always right.
All right, we got 3 minutes.
But you know what we haven't really mentioned is, and I hope nobody would make an argument the other way, is what about this in forms?
Oh,
don't make the argument. Don't try. It's better today than it ever has been. It's over.
No, forms are not better today than they ever have been. Now, athleticism wise, maybe. Okay. All right. But again, I don't think
2010s were better than they ever were.
Yes. Yeah. I think 2010s.
That's what I mean to be saying.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was an amazing time. New people were coming up, but also people that had been veterans were really peaking at that time. A lot of people. So I think the star power, I feel like that was great. I do feel like though right now we are at a high level. I mean, you look at an athlete like a Mason Stowell, and he's just focusing on traditional forms when he could go and probably win extreme. You know what I mean? I think extreme wise, there's still. I just don't feel the consistency as a few years ago, or maybe not a few, maybe the 2010s, 2012, but again, there's enigmas like Asalov, you know what I mean? Like people like Rashad for weapons, like someone like Shaquan, like that's just crazy, the athleticism and what they're doing. But again, to me, I still
that's
feel
what
like
I mean, though.
A Kalman and a Matt Emming could still be,
they could be competitive right now.
They could be competitive right now. I think that's why certain competitors in the senior divisions are still going, and being competitive. I feel like that's why I still can be competitive in traditional now. And there's all that. Someone like Joey Castro, there's all of that. So I don't think some of that's mindset.
Let's say something there. You could be competitive right now because you're better than everybody else, but that's a different reason, right?
Anyways, yeah.
But No, I think right now, okay, every year, I feel like the difficulty of what the top level of what extreme martial arts is continually levels up every single year.
Yes.
Right?
Definitely.
Whatever, like the most difficult thing that you're doing in extreme forms, right? And if you're the shit, if you take a year off and you're like, man, I'm just gonna just chill this year, I'm gonna come back and then do that exact same form.
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
No. You might get third place.
No. Exactly.
If you were winning overalls, you
right.
might get third place in your division.
Yeah.
You might. That's how crazy it is. You could be the overall, you could be like the shit, winning everything. You're and you take a year off, like it levels up that much. You might win third place in your division.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. That when I say I hope nobody thinks today is not the best, it's because of stuff like that.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I love everyone's comments and on this. You know, I feel like we could go back and forth again, even in traditional. Like again, I feel like you look at traditional from back then to now, it's completely better now. You know, and then again you have the athleticism of someone like a Mason Stahl who could do triple cork and everything, you know, and then but is focusing on traditional now, and that's it, you know. So it's just a matter like his speed and explosiveness, you know what I mean? You can't counter that. You got to do something different, you know. So I don't know, man. I'm excited about this now. I'm pumped up for the next week, and then maybe in a couple weeks after that. This end of this year is going to be awesome. It's exciting. Just get pumped up, guys. Like, have your popcorn ready. Be next to the TV, to the Facebook, to Instagram. Let's go. I'm pumped up, man. I can't wait. I
hey, you competing in the battle?
Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm doing a lot, and I'm pumped up, man.
How many divisions you gonna do?
I'm signing up for 5. Might do 6. I'm not sure yet, but
my goodness.
Yeah. So
saying that like a 23-year-old. My goodness.
Yeah, man. I've been training. Been training with Ross, so I'm pumped up.
I know.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, so much. Been a great show. Been a great conversation. Share this.
Good hanging. Hey, you know what though? I gotta tell guys. Hey, y'all gotta go back. Don't just check out last night's show or last week's show. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Dude, the show before when we had Tony Hamsani on.
Oh, two shows before that. Yeah. Yeah.
That was a great show. Freaking show. Go back. Yeah. You got to look at the Facebook Live video of that, but go back, check it out. A freaking great show.
I agree with you, John, about that, but I also feel like there's still athleticism, talent, you know. So I think the way it's presented is what makes it martial. But you know, we can talk about that more and dive into that more. But yeah, share these shows and let's go. Let's do this.
Till next week, my friends.
Boom.
This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you guys next week. Have a blessed night.